My class, I would say, remembers him because we felt that he was the teacher that actually understood how we were feeling coming to match. The fact that we were here till 5 o'clock, we had a 9-hour job coming to school, and which is how we grew to love him, because he really understood the minds of a student and a child. I guess a child, yeah, because we are children. And wish he was still here. I mean, every day, college, we think about Mrs. Sposato.
The thing that I think everybody felt anytime that they were around Charlie was just that when you were with him, number one, you were in the presence of an incredible human being, but not somebody who was so full of themselves as to think that they were that way, but somebody who was so resolute in what they believed in the world, and what they believed in themselves, that there was a mystical quality to him.
So one of the best things about Charlie was his sense of humor, and he had cornier jokes than even Matt Collins, which is saying something. And so two of my favorites were the one where he'd shake a kid's hand at the door and say, "Hey, is that your nose or a banana hanging from your face?" Then the kid would go, "Oh!" but then laugh and walk in and have a good day. And then the other one was when it got warm, students would start wearing shorts and capri pants, and he'd make fun of how skinny their legs were, and so he'd say, "Hey, ex-student, you got 2 strings hanging from your shorts. Oh, wait, those are your legs."
I remember this one time he pulled me out of class, and he yelled at me like he was my father figure. And normally, me being a child without a father figure, I wouldn't let other men yell at me in a type of way, but I felt like a type of bond with him, so I respected what he had to say to me. After he was done yelling at me, he told me he loved me, and that hit me. It hit me in a strange way, and ever since that day, I respected what he had to say, and I knew I could talk to him about anything.
I think the thing that I remember most about Charlie, and I think a lot of people don't know this about him, is that he was a very religious person, and I think in being religious, he showed us how to always come from a place of love, no matter what we're doing or who we're with, and if we're frustrated with ourselves or with our students or with our colleagues, with the world, to always calm down, check in, find that place inside you that allows you to come from a place of love. And I think that that's made me a better teacher. It's made me more forgiving of myself when I get frustrated.
I remember the first time I met him, we had to come in when we were in 8th grade to take some type of exam, I guess, to test whatever academic levels we were at. And as we were leaving, he was greeting all of us at the door, and I was chewing gum. And he said, "Have you been chewing gum all this time?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "You should be ashamed of yourself." And I was just like, whatever, I don't even feel like being here right now, I didn't take him seriously at all. Summer Academy came, and I really saw, how concerned he was about us, and, just his eagerness to want us to pursue, better futures and pursue our education and take our education seriously. I saw that he really did care.
He always remembered the things that were important to you, and so when my mother lost her mother, I think my second year here, and my mother came out to visit one day, and so he'd ask, "Hey, how's your mother?" And I'd say, "Oh, she's doing really well, thanks for asking." He's like, "She likes you better than she likes me, right?" And he'd give me that smile, and I'd say, "She probably does, Charlie."
I think the thing that always stuck with me most is that I couldn't believe that he would ask me what the last 3 books that I read were. I was so excited that anybody would be as interested as I would be as to what I read, and of course when I told him the last 3 books I read, of course he'd read them and was very excited to hear what I was reading and very excited to talk about it. And I was just thrilled that there was somebody out there who was interested in that. But there was a warmth and a authenticity that came across in discussing literature, that it was clear this was a man who had a very great love for the written word, but not so much the written word as the ideas and the heart behind it all.
He's the type of man that doesn't go back on his word. Like, if he tells you he's going to do something, he'll do it. Like, my father, he lies so much, and that's why I have a hard time believing what other men have to say and a whole bunch of bull that comes out his mouth. But Mrs. Sposato, he's different.
My sophomore year at Match, I wasn't too excited about, like, you know, starting up the school year, but I found myself really excited about going to the door and just shaking his hand. There was just something about starting my day, seeing him, that encouraged me and made me want to push forward. I'm just very thankful for him, and I'll never forget what he taught me. And if there's anything that I'll always remember, it's that the words courage, discipline, and perseverance are more than just words.
His philosophy of teaching was that students don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that was important for me because as a person, I care very much about people. And I don't always care about grades, and I don't always care about data, and I don't always care about performance. I didn't care about those things when I was a student. I cared that I could care about my friends and that they cared about me. And so as a teacher, with that philosophy, I can first and foremost come to my students as someone who cares for them, and that is the kind of the lens through which I then deliver all the information and ideas that they need. And with those ideas, they can get A's and do well on MCAS and do well on SAT. But first and foremost, I know that the school is founded on the philosophy that I can care about them before I care about anything that is a product of their work, that I can care about who they are as people.
There will be a light. There will be a light. There will be